Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to glow when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight, and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Chuan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chap. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive pot collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for ELO farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating.
Alright, my friends, here we go. This is the ChessDojo training program. We do this every Wednesday. Been doing this for years, and we're gonna, I don't know, so many people in the dojo that we have a lot of people graduating. Today we got 31. Might not finish. I might not finish today. That's okay. I'll continue it tomorrow if I'm not done. This is PMH, doesn't tell us anything. Maybe new to the program. Let's see what's going on. I might want to resize this window, actually, depending on how this looks. Okay, so he is in the wrong cohort. So PMH, you are way higher than this. You need to be in a lower cohort. So welcome to the dojo PMS. Next PMS. Next up we have Hip Pepsi. And Hip Pepsi, well, he's close to the right cohort anyway. At 508. Maybe just gained a couple points to push him over the edge. Joined pretty recently. Very recently, in fact. He's done some reasonable work. Let's see what's going on with the Pepsi. No clubs. We got some games. No games. Now maybe there's something here with ChessCom. I don't understand this. So Pepsi, also welcome to the dojo. And I think, it looks like you're going to graduate again soon. We would love to have you put in some games and stuff, but welcome. Next up, we got Taylor Henderson. This is the second graduation for Taylor. And Taylor is flying up there. Also, at 5'11". Also recently joined. Very often, we would start the program with people who just joined the dojo. This guy, though, graduating all the time here to Taylor. So, lots of tactics work. Let's see what's going on with Taylor. No clubs. Do we got some games with Taylor? We got one. Now, maybe I looked at it last time because... No, I haven't looked at it. No clock times. This is a 15 plus 10, so that's not sufficient for the cohort. We need at least a 30 plus 0. But that's a good start. And, you're graduating so fast. We're going to see you again soon. Minimum time control for this rating group is 30-0. All right. And look, you're clearly from your tactics rating, you are going to graduate again soon. Okay, now we got Andy. This is Andy's second graduation. And he says, for the last 3 months, I have mainly focused on tactics and rarely skipped a day. This has reduced my frequency of blunders quite a lot. Looking back, I certainly have not played enough games, both Blunder and Classical. Hope to fix this via the dojo's round robins. Dear Senseis, thanks a lot for the guidance on what not to do and what to do, and for providing such a great community. Well, thank you. Thank you, Andy. So here we go. I remember Andy's picture, and, you know, oh, he's over there in Munich. That's right. And Andy's making great progress. Look at that. Bavarian Blunderworks. That's right. I looked at Andy in one of my how to make videos. You can see he's doing epic amounts of tactics. Look at this. Ba-bam. He has been crushing it since April. And now his tactics rating, when we look over here, his tactics rating is higher than his actual rating. So we're going to want to look at his games to see where he is at, because it looks like he has tactically overcome whatever weakness he's got, and maybe he's got other weaknesses besides the tactical at this point. All right, boom, my games. All right, this was fairly recently. Let's click on this one. And first we're just going to see, this is a dojo round robin game. And beautiful time management. Look at that. Ba-bam. Beautiful time management. And one of the things I want to say about this is generally, at this level, the problem we have is players moving too fast, making impulsive moves. So it's really good to see Andy do this. Now, couple things. 3 things, in fact, in the under 1,000 cohorts that I have found through years of doing this grad show. 3 things are holding people back. In order of priority, board grip. That means people not hanging stuff, not seeing the free stuff. So it's not really tactics. It's just flat out hanging stuff. But the tactics will help you be better at not hanging stuff. Number 2, moving too fast. And so really good that Andy's got that base covered. And number 3, not developing their pieces. That is a skill that's easier to learn. But of the 3, that's the least important, but still one of the 3, the big 3, to make 1,000. So let's go look what's going on with Andy in this game. Fine. 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 Little weird, I'd rather castle. Okay. Good. Good. Now, I want to say both players are developing fairly well. I didn't like Queen E2 that much. But otherwise, players are developing. So notice the bishop on d7 isn't the greatest piece, and black reroutes it. Gives the bishop a little kick. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So from a positional standpoint, we can say that we are working against this bishop. We're trying to kind of cage it in. Now, black blunders, and this is typical for this level. This is how these games are decided. Bishop c2, probably bishop g4 would have been a much better move. Well, anything that doesn't hang the piece. Always trade when you're ahead. Fine. Good move, simple and strong. Fine. Okay. Little weird. Fine. 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 You're doing great, Andy. This is great. Oh, yeah, you're doing great. Now, let's just not get mated. Oh, no. Okay, so remember what I said. It's not necessarily tactics that are deciding things. It is people hanging stuff flat out. And this is a fine example of that. So he is obsessed with queen h2, though honestly it's not even a threat right now because the knight is covering it. So a simple move would be something like bishop g5. Notice that knight h6, though, is not it. Because we've got mate and tate, check and mate are over here. So we do want to be careful. All right, so bishop g5, we're threatening knight f6. So if h5, we have knight f6, check to the miserable king. Looks great. We can also play knight e5 if we need to. Okay, so big blunder. Oh, no. Oh, you guys. And then black blundered with this rook e2. Well, actually, the weird thing is, I wanted to do a take back myself. This was not a blunder. Bishop f4 was actually a double exclam. I just assumed it was a blunder. I trusted Andy. Not a blunder. Because if queen f4, we have the intermezzo, or as they say in Germany, the Zwischenzug. We got the Zwischenzug. And if they take rook takes e2, Andy, you had it, bro. Knight e2 holding the bishop. I blew it, by the way. Sorry about that. I got the wrong. I got the wrong window capture. So let's fix that. I do this every week, honestly. So sorry about that. Apparently, you probably couldn't see that too well. But here we see it, and knight takes e2. So bishop f4 was actually a double exclamation point. We didn't want to be so fancy. Now at this level, we don't want to find, we don't need to find that kind of fancy tactics. But bishop f4 is actually a very nice supercomputer tactic, because he must play rook e2, and then we recapture with the knight. However, Andy doesn't see it, and now we're deep in the doo-doo, as they say. Queen d4, and now we're just really in trouble. He finds a nice move. Okay, now what happened here? So, black needs to fix the knight and play knight f5. Both players under mild time stress now. Bad move. And, okay, definitely we need to move the knight. So now we take, thank you, that's a piece, my friend. Check to the miserable king. What are we doing? Why didn't we take here? Okay, we're up a piece, but we are down muchos ponzos. Uh-oh, what are we doing? We're just hanging my stuff. Any flags here? Okay, so he is talking about his takeaways. I definitely think playing more longer games is good. I definitely think he could ask his opponents if they want to play even longer. Okay, so when you play the dojo round robin, it's a minimum of 30-0. If your opponent agrees, you can go 30 plus 30 or whatever you want to do. Okay, the next thing is notice. How were you winning this game? Because your opponent was just hanging stuff. He hung this guy here, and then later he's going to hang that knight on g3. That's how the game is ultimately decided here, right? And we want to be just aware that that's how we are also going to blow it. That's how we're going to blow it. Until we get past 1,000, that is how we're going to also be blowing our games. Okay. Well done. And let's move on to Golfman. Golfman says, this is my second graduation playing in the Open Classical. Was most helpful both in gaining confidence and spotlighting my weaknesses. Jesse's video series, How to Make 600, 800, is also very instructive. Thank you. I also added daily tactics and bot play. And if I didn't beat my bot level, I would skip online playing that day, knowing my focus was not all there. Okay, interesting. I think there's a lot of beginning players who are really interested in playing the bots. All right. So, here's Golfman. He took a little break over here, as you can see. And Yellow says, I just got a new coach. What are some key things to do to check how good the coach is? Is he following the dojo, he or she following the dojo training program? That's one of the main things to ask. Are they playing themselves? Yeah, those are some of the things I would ask. Are they asking you to go over your games, or are they asking you other silly things? They should be primarily interested in going over your games. Okay, so this is Golfman. He is crushing. Look at that. And something's going wrong with his tactics rating, so we got to address that at some point. He might have a tactics problem here, Golfman. He is in the 50 plus with me, lifting heavy things. This club's the one, also 65 plus. Now I want to say, a lot of players in the dojo who are older, I'm older too, are having grief with the tactics. Okay, so he's got up to 5-6, but his tactics are still pretty bad. So just be aware of that, and just be aware that that's the thing that you're going to have to most work on. All right, here we go. My games. Let's see if that's borne out anyhow in some of this stuff. Ooh, we do not have a recent game at all from Golfman. Now, it's a little weird. I don't understand a lot of this. So listen, Golfman. Put your games into my games. That's where it should go. Okay? I just clicked on this and found this other one. It needs to go in my games. All right, so clock usage. We want to start there. And that looks pretty good, except at some point, both players stopped thinking. We see this a lot. We'll see. We'll check back in when we get to that point. All right, so now game review. Here we go. Fine. Little weird. Good. Takes. Good. Now, bishop e3, I would like take that pawn. To hold on to that pawn. Okay, good developing move. I don't like this. And you say, plan is a3, c4 to extract the light square bishop. So, we need to play something aggressive to get our people out. a4 makes some sense, c4 makes some sense. a3 is not it. He's now developing. Okay, good. Okay. Now he's tricked us. So, that's a bummer right there. Mistake, bishop e3. He needs, actually, maybe take it back. It's a very interesting position. Also, kind of like the last one, with an interesting tactic. If here we, of course, have here, and we're lighting up this guy. So we're actually okay. Okay. Good. I think it's okay. Uh-oh, it wasn't okay. I didn't realize he could do that. If he could do that, then we don't want to play f4. Yeah. Slightly difficult situation if that's the case. But we definitely won't want to play f4 because now he's coming in with a very powerful knight and forking our business. Now, something I think I saw over here was right around this time. I'm going to go back. We see that players stopped thinking. And so what I want to stress is it's common in the even, let's call it under 1700 cohort, for players to stop thinking when they get to the end game. It's as if they're saying, oh, this is easy over here. No problem. No problem. I don't have to think at all. So you can see here that the graph just starts flattening out right when we get to the white here. Thank you, yellow. Okay, so I'm just going to cruise through this. This is, we need to move slower. It looks like a bad move to me, like you're allowing rook c7. So now rook d2, I don't understand e4. This is one of those moments where it's time to think. It's time to think. We're in a little bit of a hard spot. Yep. Now we're just messing around. Now we're toast. Good move. And now they just kind of blitz it out. So very typical. Once we get to the end game, players stop thinking. Okay, so besides the end game, Golfman, that was really good. Remember what I said, the three things. Hanging stuff, not using your time, and development. In your case, it was only when the end game when you didn't use your time. And you did have a move like A3, which you should never be doing a move like that. Okay. And ultimately a move like F4, which is too fast, played too fast, is creating a monster knight, after which we're in deep doo-doo. Okay, so there it is, Golfman. I'm interested to see how Golfman progresses. As we saw the tactics, he should maybe look at those tactics ratings, try to get that tactics rating up, because my suspicion is he's in games that are a little bit more messy, he's probably hanging a lot of pieces. That's generally what we're going to see at this level. Okay. Next up, we got Dr. Gus. Headed back up now. Now they finally understand. Don't hang your stuff. That's very true, Dr. Gus. Let's go give Dr. Gus a look over here. John Gustafsson, our neurologist, Fort Smith. Okay. So, golf midweek, chess tournaments on the weekend. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So you can see his USCF here went up a little bit, and now he is in the 7 to 800 cohort. Really cool that he is using his OTB as the default or preferred metric. And might need some tactics help over here too, but sometimes these are a little hard to judge. Okay. Has he got that 50 plus club? I think he probably need to be in there. Cool that we have an Arkansas Chess Dojo. There we go. Say hi to Bill Clinton for me. That's all I know about Arkansas, really. Go games. And this is going to be cool. This is an OTB game we're looking at. Oh, check it out, you guys. Dr. Gus is Alex Gustafsson's dad. And Alex Gustafsson is a hero of the dojo. He's helping us out a little bit with some coding stuff. And you can actually see over here his little picture of Alex, meaning that he was helping his dad work on this game. All right, here we go. So the first thing we want to show before we look at the game itself is that Mr. Gustafsson Sr. is using his time much better than what I'm going to guess is a young buck who cannot think. This young buck, however, is a much higher rated player. Okay? So, let's get into it. All right. Okay, this is fine. Now, generally, we don't want to take on d5 because we then really develop the queen. And it's developed because the queen can't really be attacked so easily on d5. All right, passive, but okay, we're getting our stuff out. Good. 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 A little weird, but okay. Okay. Now, black is a little bit better. And then this is a problematic move because, yes, it hits the queen, but now it really creates a hole here for d4 where the knight can later jump in there. So we would have wanted to do something else. All right, c4, queen d2, rook a b8. Weird. He should put what? He should put the rook on the open file. Okay, also a little weird. Check to the miserable king. Okay, good. Poor. Well, maybe not awful, but I think unnecessary. So now the guy comes in with his big fat knight. And it's a little bit annoying. Now I like rook fe1. Why? Because I want to develop my rook. Okay. We are not dead. We are not dead here, my friends. I don't know about king h1. So we're a little worse because of our pawns, but it's not too easy for black to do stuff. I don't know why Gustafsson Sr. hasn't put his rook here yet, and then we can think about playing f4 someday. Ooh, that's probably a bad move from this young buck, because he's not really threatening to take it. Now, we take, and what I want us to see about this take, okay, is that we are developing that rook. See, it wants to move because it wants to double. All right, so now we're going to assume the position. King a5. Now, if I was black here, I would be like, okay, I really have to think. So this is what I mean about a kind of ending where you really need to think about what's going on. Okay, and start, it's going to be a counting game. For example, black would like at some point to push this pawn, but he's got to put the king here first. We would like to get our king to help support this pawn, right? So a5, I'm not sure. a4 locks it up. Okay, I like king g2 better, but okay. h3, no, we don't like that. So this is loss of time. So just like in the opening, we want to develop our pieces, we need to develop our king. He needs to come out. Poor. No one knows what king h2 is doing. No one knows what the king there is doing. Poor move. Now black is just winning the pawn on d3. Okay. And now we should be losing the king and pawn endgame if he takes. And black only thinks a minute and a half. And I want to stress, if you were playing a GM here, whether it was a chump GM or a real GM, they would think for a long time here, seeing if they could work out if the king and pawn ending was fundamentally winning. And the answer, the short answer is yes, of course it's winning. Okay. Oh, and then this is a very important thing. In general, with the rooks, we don't, if we're down, if we're down a pawn, we don't want to go to the rook endgame. Or if we're down a pawn, we don't want to go to the pawn ending. It's generally lost. So we're definitely helping him here. And I think we're toast. Easily toast, because we're going to end up losing all our coconuts. So, Mr. Gustafsson Sr., that was great. That was great. And you're making progress. So congratulations. And there's Dr. Gus, dude. He's up in the 700 to 800 cohort. Very nice. Very nice. I think we're going to see Dr. Gus again. Now, BP says, continuing to drill puzzles regularly, played multiple classical time control games, started playing in the round robins with mixed results. I'm surrounded by other really good players in the cohort, continuing to work on time management in the 30+0 round robin games. Okay, let's go take a look. Just check in on some of this stuff. 710, looking good. You can see this amazing heat map where he is playing, he's doing the work, and he has graduated twice. All right. I say he. It doesn't have to be he. Tactics rating suggests that this soul is going to graduate again soon. Clubs. Okay, just dads and moms. Let's go over here. My games. All right. So, as Adverse Infinity said, they're working on their time, and this was a GM level time management game over here. All right, so let's go game review. Boom, boom. Oh, this is fancy. This is fancy. This goes back hundreds of years, my friends. All right, so bishop e7. I'm sure it's playable. d4, and now knight f6, which I think is a blunder. I think you need to play d6. The problem with knight f6, White doesn't understand why though, is if de5, knight e4, I think that's the end of all the coconuts because he's threatening two things at once. Okay, so superficial move, castles, thank you very much. Now this take is no bueno because I'm just taking here and talking to the bishop. Oh, I would love to take that bishop, please. d6. So I think the most basic here is we could take once, have him recapture, h6, move the knight, take this pawn. A little superficial because he can just play f3 now. He goes here. Okay. b6, I don't want to do it. It's losing time. Okay. f4, now we can take that bishop. Thank you very much. Kick the knight. Thank you very much. e5, that's not special. Now you play d5 in a minute, but it's time to think. Like, aren't we... Oh, it's actually a little tricky. So, for example... if hg, pawn takes, bishop takes, fg, and now we got a little problem. So that's interesting. All right, so let's try the move you did. Queen c6. And now, however, you could just take the knight because there's no discovered attack on the bishop. This is poor because we're hanging a pawn on e4. Should white have taken knight takes e4? Yeah, of course. Why? To develop their coconuts. All right, here we go. Bishop d5, queen g4. Very scary situation. I think we probably need to play queen g5 before we get blasted. e6. A little fast for me for what white is doing. White should definitely consider one of these knight moves so that we're threatening bishop h6. Yeah, so that was poor. f6 is not threatening mate. And now king h8, which you says is a double question mark. What you say about what WTF? I didn't think about the obvious fork. Well, let's just get into it for a second. First of all, if you don't like it, you should say what you should play. For my money, for example, rook f7 looks like a nice simple move. We're threatening to bring this guy over. But king h8 would also cross my mind. And now you're saying that... but look, you're misunderstanding this. If fg7, you just play queen g7, you're fine. There's nothing happening to you. So you're missing that the queen's hitting the pawn. And by the way, this is a scary situation, but you need to move the bit. You need to at least think about moving the bishop. And the reason it's scary is because of that move. I think it's not over yet, though. Let me play here first. Right? I think you're still fine. Okay, so rook f6, we're blundering a bishop, and now we're toast. I guess we have some chances. Oh, wow, you got him good. So bishop f4 was the one move. That was the one move that was really poor. Nice one. Nice one. Queen d4 exclam. Very nice. Check to the miserable king. Oh, it's very nice. I would take with the queen just to trade everything off, but of course what you're doing is completely winning. Very nice. Okay, so well done. And one thing we'll say is sometimes this is called the Evans Gambit. You'll play people at this level who maybe have like studied an opening course or something, but you see that they didn't understand. They don't have the tactical skill to be doing this opening. So people don't believe me when they say that at this level you shouldn't be doing opening work, right? Because you need some more basic skills before, like don't move a developed piece twice, bro. Like in this position. Okay, so well done, and let's continue. Next up, we have Alfil Roberto. 2 words, no blunders. Alfil is the bishop in Spanish. So let's go over here. Ba-boom. This is Alfil Roberto. Also joined fairly recently. Has graduated a second time here. Flying up real nice, 714. And similar tactics rating. Clubs. Games. All right, here we go. This was a recent one. And let's first take a look at the clock. I always enjoy it when the dojo player uses their time and the other player does not. So that's the first piece of good news. Let's go into the game. Weird. Obviously poor. Develop your pieces, buddy. Fine. Fine. D5. This doesn't look right. Why are we doing this? So you're basically, your opponent, he's not threatening anything, by the way. Your opponent freaks you out here. You're like terrified of this. And this is an example of what they sometimes call, the threat is greater than the execution, right? Because it's not a threat. But the fact is he's messing with you means that you freak out here with D5. All right, H4 does not look right to me. Can we please take this pawn? Please take the pawn. No. All right. Queen E7. Now, could we have played Bishop F2? To me, it looks like you could have. Of the old intermezzo. Check to the miserable king. Okay, that's a little scary. But he missed. Bam. Welcome to the dojo. What does he need to do? He needs to play knight BD2. Now you're totally winning again. And notice he's just obsessed with some like thing. I don't know what it is, but he's obsessed with it. Bishop H4 is fine. You could have also just taken the knight. Good. Okay. Dang, that's intense. Now, the easy thing is just don't make it too intense. Just take the pawn on D6. He's not doing anything to you. You're happy to trade. Fine. Good. Good. All right. There we go. That's the kind of pattern I'm here for. All right? Well done with the pattern. Okay, so a little bit similar to last time where your opponent was obsessed with taking on F7 and they had, we mostly just want to ignore them, but you guys freaked out. You're like, oh no, F7, I'm dying. Okay, so well done. Let's continue. That was Alfil Roberto. Next up, we got Nick, not Cage. Not Nicolas Cage, I guess. All right, we got an adult improver. Joined a while back, but has only been logging their business sporadically. Has gained an epic amount of points. So that's a cool thing to see. And we got clubs. The Pittsburgh Dojo. 3 people. There we go. Now, one thing I learned today is that Yinsers, I guess, are people from Pittsburgh. I guess. I had never heard that before. Hold on, maybe I just quick AI thing. What are Yinsers? Oh, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The term originates from the word yints, which is the second person plural pronoun, so like y'all, known as Pittsburghese. So like use, like the way the Canadians say use, guys, they're saying yints. Okay. Okay. All right, yints. I kind of like it. I didn't know about that. All right, so here we go. This is Nick Not Cage. He's from Pittsburgh. He's a yinser. He's a yinser. I'm going to go over here, my games. We got Nick Not Cage over here. And how's our time management? Better than our opponents. We're going to say that. Better than our opponents. All right, let's go game review. Poor move. Not a developing move. Bishop b2, a little passive, but okay. Poor move. Not a developing move. Passive. Good. Poor move. Good move. I would have preferred bishop g3, but okay. Here we go. Fancy. I would have not want to do that. I would rather move the queen and then play knight d5. Poor move. Hanging a pawn. Could have taken it there on f5. All right, now we just traded everything off. So one of the things I want you to see that happen there is your opponent refused to develop their pieces, but because you weren't thinking about it, we're now in a position where he's totally fine. Nota bene that you will play many players who just make superficial moves like h6, a6, knight e5, and beating them is key for your progress. You need to beat those people. All right, check to the miserable king. I think you're actually helping black. They want to put their king in that snug as a bug in a rug place. f4, okay. I like c3 better. Don't understand h4. All right, right black could have just taken it. Also, now... All right, so now you got to do this nasty thing. Okay, I don't like it. You're probably going to have to take on f1. And now we're in big trouble. So you give king g2 the mistake, but honestly, it's already a mistake. The mistake has already been made because his rook is going to land here. And once his rook lands there, we're not doing well. So even king h1, rook f2, it's still a bad news situation. Grasping at straws here. Thank you very much. Bishop f6, not bad. I don't know what that does. Okay, simple and good play by black. Bishop d4, that looks like a blunder. So you guys, listen, under 1,000 cohorts, it's coming down to people blundering stuff like this. Ba-bam. Okay. Okay, I like rook g4 there. Fine. Fine. I don't know. We should have left it on the 7th rank. Now we just blundered a pawn again here. Okay. Should black consider rook g4? Yes, they should. Okay. Good move. Good move. Good move. I love that. That was great. Good move. Here you miss rook g1. Rook g8, excuse me. Actually, no, I take it back. I take it back. I take it back. Excuse me. Rook g8, the guy has rook... Yeah, rook g8. Yeah. So we wouldn't want. He has rook e5, and then takes on h7. Good move. Good move. And now we want to mate. Okay. Well done. Well done. So this is a typical situation where your opponent, if they had spent more time, maybe they wouldn't have hung their stuff, right? Maybe they wouldn't have hung their stuff. So, as is typical at this level, what is deciding stuff are people hanging stuff. Also hung, your opponent also hung Tempe in the opening, and we want to learn to get better at exploiting that. All right, good. Let's go back grad show. Boom. We got Doc TT. Accountability, working through text, I have not bought or done other. I would have not bought or done otherwise. Also containing to make me play slow has worked. Who would have thought? So here we go. 210 points of gain since joining the dojo. Texas Tech fanatic. Okay, so here we go. Texas Tech fanatic. I'm imagining when he says that he's maybe from that area or went to school there, into the football team. Has graduated 3 times. This is incredible. All right, so clubs. Maybe we'll get that. I've been to that Texas Tech town because Susan Polgar used to live there, and I had an invite there, but I have to admit I forgot what the name of the town was. Okay, so here we go. This is Super Funk against the Doctor. Maybe it's Dr. Time Trial? I don't know. First, let's take a look at this clock. Whoa, look at this. 30-0, very nice time management from the good doctor. All right, so let's get into a game review. So he plays d5 versus everything. Okay. Good. Okay, you're doing great. Loss of time. I don't like this as much. But okay, you didn't know what to do. Yeah, here we go. Very good move. Simple and strong. Well done. All right, d5, that looks good. Bishop d4. And now you play e5, which looks like a blunder. Okay, so just looking at this for a second. Bishop g5 I'd be interested in, but queen g4 kind of gives me a heartache, so I'm not that interested in that. This is a great move. Dude has to play bishop e3. Blunder, check, excellent in-between move. Check, excellent. Thank you very much. That was well done, Doc TT. Very nice tactic. So I want to say what you did really well there is he gave you that opening on the A file. You created some nice pressure, and they collapsed. And maybe what we should also say there is, as we're coming up to the 1000s, right? We're seeing games won not just by hanging of pieces, but like, let's call this a 2-mover or something, right? Right. That's where we can actually talk about. I would call this a tactic. Right, an actual thing you might find in a book where you have to find how to win against bishop d5. All right, first time raider, hello from Ostdeutschland. Etty, thank you very much. Diese schwarze Dame, nice, thank you. Schach Deutschland TV is rating mit 225 Leute. Thank you for being here. Basically, today we are going over games that were done by the ChessDojo training program graduates. Look at their profile a little bit. vegan law is here. And I've never rated Schock Deutschland TV, but I have rated a lot of other German-speaking streamers. So, I lived in Germany ages ago. We're going to go back to the grad show thing here. In the 90s. In the 90s, I was there, played for Viernheim as I was a student. Okay, so he joined pretty recently. You can see he's done a lot of work. Thank you, Schock Deutschland TV. And this is looking good for Gallagher Rex. Graduating a third time, 114 points of gain, basically slaying. Clubs. Let's go Philly. All right. Games. This is the Mr. Gallagher Rex. And he's playing the high fish. So we got a little German going on here. The high fish is the shark. It's a great Rammstein song about the shark. So here we go. Let's look. Do we got some times? Pretty good. Now, by the way, as we're going up, I also want to say players are required to play longer games once they hit 800. And so here we have a 30 plus 30 time control. And both players stopped thinking around move 40. Shit. What happened there? I got disconnected is what happened. All right, so I think I'm back. I don't know why I was disconnected. So here we go. This is high fish, and they are going over here. Let's start into it. We'll go to game review. Ba-boom. Fine. Good. Okay. Rook E1. This is very spicy. D5, knight D4. You might be crushing them at this point. Bishop D7. And here you had a long think. I guess the question is, why isn't F3 winning on the spot? We might also, just to make it safe, take the knight and then play F3. And to me, that looks like a pin and win situation. Okay? Knight C3. Okay. Knight E4, and now a full blunder from black castles. Thank you very much. Game is basically decided. A6, that doesn't help. I would trade just to make your life easy. Fine. This looks like might be a blunder. The question is, on B5, which he has to do to get out of this pin, could you have thrown in, or as the Germans say, a Zwischenzug, could you have done that? Definitely you needed to. Because over here, we just lost our coconut back. Okay? So, my friends, in the under 1000s, this is how games are decided. All right. Okay. Now, it seems like we were we were up 2 pieces though, so maybe it wasn't that bad of a deal. Good move. Good move. Good move. All right, now it should be a simple mop-up. There you go. Simple chess. There's no need to be complicated here. Now you're making it a little complicated, but you're doing fine. That was a dirty trick. Okay, nice technique. Thank you very much. King H3 is a little weird, but I don't mind. Uh-oh, that was no good. Why did we do that? We did not want to hang that pawn. So we made a couple, like this was fine, and we put ourselves into a weird spot here all of a sudden. Like that doesn't make any sense. And then we did this move, and then he's got this, and then all of a sudden, oh no. We're still winning this, by the way, but now we have to actually work. I didn't want to work. I wanted it to be easy. All right, good moves. Black was passive, and we got this, and they're going to soon resign. Okay, so well done. That was beautiful. All right, let's go to the next graduate, and that is, we're going to call him Wilson B. And he says, finally, I joined the dojo on February 24 with the initial goal of getting from 1090 to 1200. Within a month, I was up to 1146 and hit a wall. I would work through the training program consistently for a few months, and then life would get busy for a few months. Just got back to it this month and finally made it to my first graduation. I've worked mostly on tactics and Polgar mates, worked through how to beat your dad at chess, played and annotated some classical games. I need to find time to do some sparring and game reviews with other members, hoping to play longer time controls and play more classical games in the next cohort. I appreciate all the new features that have been added over the past year to improve consistency and accountability. 1200, here we come. All right. So, boom. So as you can see, Wilson, let's pop this out. This is their heat map. Yeah, he's a little bit on and off. He gets excited and then life happens. So that's what's going on with Wilson. He's a math teacher in Rochester, New York. Cool. Got up to 917. You can see there's his goal there was 1200 ChessCom. 1200 ChessCom, that's kind of like R1000, and that's when people stop hanging pieces quite as much. Okay, so let's look. Is there a Rochester club? That's one of my first questions here. Now, Wilson, I have a special request. Oh, could you make us a Rochester, New York club? That would be amazing. That's just my special request to you. Now, we're going to see if Wilson has a game. My games. And he's got one fairly recent, so we're going to click this bad boy. We're going to look at L time graph. Pretty short game. And we'll say Wilson did use his time fairly well. All right, let's go game review. Fine. Fine. Poor. So this is a very fancy tactic sometimes where they'll take and we play d5. Unfortunately for us, knight takes e4, hangs the bishop. And one of the things actually about knight e4 that's a little interesting is he's making this mistake because he's seen a different position where this trick works. Okay, so that's no bueno. I can show you the position where it does work. Is if we play, let's say, knight f6, knight c3 here, and now it does work. Okay, so sometimes knowledge, especially at this level, opening knowledge, it's not helpful. It's one of the reasons I'm really telling people at this level not to do opening work. All right, opponent blunders completely. Rook e1, we say, okay, I'll take that. Then we say, all right, I'll take that. Now, I think what we wanted to do is to play knight c3 as what we call an intermezzo. Take that, hit the queen, and then then we'll take the rook. The problem with bishop e1 is dude could have at least tried knight e4, and it's a little bit hard for our bishop to get out. I'm sure you're still doing fine here, though. Okay, so here we go. Poor move. We need to take on c3. So snip. And now another poor move, dc3. This is what we call the intermezzo, the Zwischenzug, the intermezzo, the in-between move. Okay? These are the things that plague the players under 1,000. So these are the things we need to be getting a hold of. Good move. Looks superficial to me. And you should probably just play f6. Queen a2. Snip. That's a big snip. Now, the good news is, I think we're up a rook. So it shouldn't matter. I like that. I like that. I like that. I don't understand that. Why don't we just bring your coconut out like you've always been dreaming of? Okay. Okay. Good move. Good move. And he just says, I'm done. He says, I'm done. So this is Wilson's first graduation. Congratulations. Maybe he's going to make that Rochester, New York club for me. All right. Well done. And now we have Jemer. I don't know. I don't know. Jemar. There's a Jemar here. Houseline's here. Hello, Houseline. So, this is Jemar. Got here fairly recently. Done a little bit of work. He is up above 1,000. Congratulations. And let's see what Jemar's got going on. No clubs. No games. Now, I have to admit, when we get these long shows, I'm sometimes thankful. Now, I'm not supposed to say that because, of course, we want you to have a game, Jemar, but when we got 31 people in a graduation show, dang, I'm a little thankful when we don't have a game. Next up is Zach. Oh, that's true, Houseline. That's true. Zach, I believe I remember. There might be a couple Zachs. So maybe I don't. So this is Zach's first graduation. No, it can't be true. Zach has graduated. Well, it's confusing because he's gone up 244 points since joining in May, but we don't see any other graduation symbols. Maybe he just wanted to get over that 1,000. Okay, couple things to say. Now that we're crossing this 1,000 barrier. Before 1,000, it's pretty, I feel pretty dogmatic and safe in saying that getting to 1,000 dojo, which is about 1250 chesscom, as you can see from Zach's profile here. The getting to that point is all about not hanging stuff, so getting a grip on the position, taking the free stuff. So not difficult tactics, we're just saying take the free stuff. Number 2, time management, a lot of impulsive play and the under 1250 chesscom. And then 3, less important, but it's still going to be a thing, is development, using the tempi to do stuff with your pieces. After 1250, okay, so this is something for Zach to think about. What you will find is players will not be hanging as much stuff. They'll still see some, but not nearly as much. But they will be hanging tempi like mad, and is learning how to take advantage of those lost tempi of your opponent that is going to be giving you the big gains through the next several hundred points. Okay? All right, let's get into it with Zach. We got clubs with Zach? New England Dojo. Beautiful. Now here we go. My games. Blah, bloomp. And let's see. I'm going to say this looks... Well, this is kind of recent-ish. Let's see what's going on here. What kind of time control we got? So, very important, Zach. For the dojo, we are very particular that once you hit even 800, you can't be doing that 30-0 stuff anymore. I appreciate a lot of people are like, cry, I don't have the time. You probably do have the time. Okay, but the reason is 30-0, we suffer. We suffer the lower rated players doing the 30-0 because it's hard for them to develop the deep thinking. And their problem is generally they're moving too fast anyway, and their opponents are definitely moving too fast. As you progress, we need games that have more time. Okay? So this was also, it's a 30 plus 20, but lightly annotated, very lightly annotated. So, Zach, I'm going to skip that one, but great that you're crushing it. Great that you're crushing it. And we're going to move on to Nathan, who I think I remember. Let's see. Nathan doesn't tell us anything. And, yeah, joined the dojo. Graduated already twice. Looking great. Yeah, looking great. So, we got some clubs over here, Nathan. Nothing. Games. Do we got something? No, no games. And the other ones is a 15-10, which is not, like we said, not something we're looking for here. So, Nathan, you're doing great work, though. Congratulations. And next up, we have, we actually are going to the 1200 one here. So we're going to go up to the next level. And I'm going to make an announcement that after this, I'm going to go get myself a snack and a coffee. That's what I deserve. Because I've been at this long and my eyes start hurting. Well, that's a bummer, huh? All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So he's trusting the system. I know progress will probably slow down from here. I still make some dumb mistakes that I know I shouldn't. And when I review my games, I just shake my head and think, what are you doing, Bows? On the flip side, I can clearly see my growth when I play friends I used to struggle against. Now I can beat them convincingly. That's motivating. Looking forward to the next graduation, and most importantly, I'm having fun along the way. Oh, Christ. See, I got tricked. I got tricked. Sorry about that. I got tricked. So I started reading Dr. Wandidian. This is what happens when I get a little loopy here. And then when I came back after being cut off, I started reading Amable's. Amable's a famous dojo, and I just kind of went into his. So I'm going to reboot that. Dr. Wandidian said, the program has really invigorated my motivation, and it's been a very useful tool to bring consistency to my training. Aware I do not have many classical games under my belt, but aiming to start playing regular OTB. Great. Okay, that's Dr. Wandidian. I think if you've never played OTB, okay, and you are just maybe part of the Queen's Gambit generation, you might have a couple hard knocks with it at first, but if you commit yourself to it, you are going to see gains. It's just something where the competitive atmosphere and the sweat that you're going to have to endure in those games is going to push you to a new level. Okay, so this is the doctor, and as you can see, the doctor is doing a lot of great work. And 11:10 looks good. Is he part of the London dojo? There he is. Boom. Then we got some games, and let's see. People need. It's really a problem, actually. People are not putting their games into my games. That is the default area that they in general should go to. So, this is the first time playing a classical time control. Great. He did not bring the times in, I understand. You can do it. It's very helpful, rewarding for me and you to put the times in. You can just write it on your score sheet. But I understand you're doing the first time might be a little weird. All right, we're going to get into the game review. A good, nice French. Fine. Good. Fine. A little weird now. C takes d4, and now definitely a fail here. Bishop b5. Fail has a tactical problem as well as moving a developed piece twice. Queen a5, genius level. Thank you very much. That doesn't do anything. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is a yard sale over here. Good. No, I like your move better. Knight d4, I would prefer you to just play bishop d7, start developing your people. But okay, you're doing fine. Good. Simple chess. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, very nice. French chess. Look at that. That one I just wouldn't have wanted. I don't want to give him that, but you saw through that. Dang! A very typical French game in a lot of ways. Your opponent obviously didn't know what they were doing, and it wasn't because they didn't know theory. They didn't know that they were not supposed to move developed pieces twice. And like I said, that's where the big gains now come from. A game like this, your opponent doesn't develop properly, bam, they get hurt. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to get a coffee. I'll be back, and we are then going to look at Amable over here. Amable is a monster dojo. Then we got so many more. Will I ever make it through today? Maybe not. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. If I don't get through today, I can do the rest tomorrow. All right, I will be back in a moment. Tito, check out this rap that my friend David Bruce wrote.
Welcome to Dojo. Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe. Ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for ELO farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked with the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board. Big transition from poser to player. Focus without a care, he leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Welcome to the dojo. Welcome to Dojo. Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive pot collection. He bought the Urge from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you.
Okay, my friends, we are back. And we are coming up with a Mable here. And there he is. Knuckles 35. Let's pop this out. You can see Amable has been working at it pretty good. And his rating has gone up as a consequence. Right? Just flying up there really nicely. Made it to 1200. Let's see what clubs he's at here. Loads of clubs. The Coconut Club. That's one of the best clubs right there. All right. I would love to see a recent game of Amable's. I've looked at him several times on some graduation shows. This one's new, but bam. And how's the time look, Amable? Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Much better than our opponents. This is a round-robin game. That means he's playing someone in the dojo. But they didn't know that they were going to get featured, posterized in this show where we're like, bro, why didn't you think during your game? All right, here we go. Game review. E4. Fine. Fine. Yeah, I think you missed knight G4 there. You can still do it. You can still do it. Good. Good move. I like knight D4 a lot. Yeah, that's a nice move. Okay, now here we go. Knight D7, good move. Now, C6 is a very clever move because he cannot play knight D6 because of knight E5. Knight is miserable on A3. And we play the natural move, knight E5. I have a feeling we're going to be better with almost any move here. I don't like that one. I think we should beg him before we take... They should beg us before we take that scrawny bishop. Yeah. One reason I'm not so certain about knight E5 is I don't really know if I want to take that bishop, because he might hit me with F4 someday. So moves that make sense to me are like queen G5. Queen B6 makes sense to me. We can wait on the knight. Anyways, here we go. He likes to lock it up. The knight's going to try to fix itself. Okay. If he's going to do B4, he shouldn't have done that with his rook over there. White doesn't know what he's doing. Now you could play A6, activate your A rook. That's not it. Good move. And now, I think you can win a pawn by going here and then saying a check and then taking the thing. No one knows what he's doing. Check. Good. That doesn't it. Thank you very much. Now this should be a winning endgame. On your mark, get set, go. Yep, very nice, and he's gone. All right. So he says he was very shocked to win this game. My opponent is a very strong player. We chatted afterwards. Yeah, Dojo round robin is really great. There's very few cheaters in the round robin. People are going to go over the game with you afterwards. They're going to play a longer game, and you're going to get somebody really right at your level. So, beautiful thing. Amabe's really doing pretty well here. His opponent, I think, actually, let's just talk briefly about the time. If his opponent had thought longer, I think he could have come up with better moves than knight a1 and knight c2 and yada yada, right? Yeah. One of the things, too, we'll say about this kind of opening is the point of hypermodern opening is to attack the weak point in the center. Whatever weak point white gives us from the side. And white just wasn't thinking about how to fight for the d4 square. All right. So, well done. Let's move on. And now I'm going to go back. And it's Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss. What does Dr. Seuss got to say? Doing pretty recently. 12-16. Okay. Clubs. Nothing. Games. We got a game. We got some. This is Majestic Waterfall and C Junior. No dimes. I suspect that this is an online game and that Waterfall did not correctly import the time. So just try to make sure that you get the timestamps when you bring it on over. Okay. Poor move. If you're going to play bishop d7, maybe sometimes they go like queen b6, bishop b5. Interesting. I think I'm okay with this. Let's take it. And now knight bd2. You did knight fd2. It's a little weird. f6. Good. Good. All right. Fancy things have happened. Good. I like that. That's probably incorrectamundo. Castles, and that's got to be a blunder because if knight takes e2 check. So, if you had taken the knight, you are much better developed than you just castle, and I think from a GM perspective, it's winning because your development is too fast. Okay? This is a blunder because of knight takes e2 check, and you say, knight e2, king h1, anyone's game. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. I don't know if it's anyone's game. Bishop d6 for starters. I don't know if it's true what you're saying. There's a lot of questions going on. This is unnecessarily complicated. All right. So, one thing I just wanted to point out at this level, I'm going to say it again. The thing to be aware of is your opponents, the mistake they're going to make is they're not going to be sensitive to time. Your opponent here was definitely not sensitive to time. So he's losing time, and this was fine. Good. And then it's really got to be said, though, that that's an abysmal move. This knight wants to come out, bro. This one, right? And you will open the position, and your development is better. Crunchy, crunchy. Thank you for being in chat. No problem. I would say one of the biggest challenge for any chess player is to get a handle on, a start on annotating their games. It's not necessarily an easy thing. All right, so well done over here. That was Majestic Waterfall. And next up, we got Wheat Belly. Wheat Belly says, when I had the mental energy for deep work, I focused on games, analysis, and tactics, especially the Bulgar main twos. I find the problems with the open board much more difficult than the ones with some tactical motif. Jesse's idea of square control helped a lot here. When I had no mental energy, I did chess book opening training. I really like the format of the dojo tactics and checkmate tests, where you have to make moves for both colors and find all the critical lines. But because they are one and done, I tend to avoid them. Could we have more training exercises of this sort? So definitely we're working on a new tactics trainer. And we got a whole revamp. It's taking a while. We have 54. We got 54 dev projects, most of which aren't getting done. Some of them are very simple. Alex Gustafsson is working on some, but we got just so many and they got to get done. In any case, the big one that we have on the table is the Dojo Tactics Trainer. All right, we're going to look at the game with Gamisk. This is Wheat Belly. Now, Wheat Belly joined in 24, but it's really recently that they've really gone for it. And so it's cool that they got this graduation here. You can see when they went for it here, boom, staircase ladder right there. So that's a beautiful thing. No clubs. We're going to look at his game with Gamisk. Okay, so the first thing we're going to say is that he is playing somebody who is not thinking. There's an hour time control, but they are just not in it. Okay, so let's go game review. Okay. Controversial. Good move. Yeah. Now, you could say, Cry, I don't understand. You told me not to move the pawn twice. But the nice thing about this pawn is it's going to prevent the knight from moving to its natural square. So already black is going to have to make 2 moves to fix that knight. Superficial, good move. Superficial, and now a3, which is unnecessary. But it should be said that black taking the pawn, whether they take the one on e4 or c3, is going to be controversial no matter what. Okay. So bishop d2 looks good. Now, I'm not worried about that one. I thought maybe queen e4 they could live. Good move. That ain't it. Fine. Fine. Probably fine. I don't think they could take it, so like just castling is also good. Oh, that's no good. Check. Now you said check to the miserable king. I think that's okay. Yeah, well, this is a little bit, there's some questions now. To me, castles can't be wrong. Castles is a good move. This one I'm not sure about. Now he trades queens. I don't want him to trade queens. And now we lose a tempo. Okay? So, again, where games are decided at this level are people hanging tempi. And you just hung one. And you hung another one. That was poor. Bishop f4. Thank you very much. That was a big pawn that we just won. Good move. Rook behind the passed pawn. Good move. Let's give him a check. That's called an intermezzo, friend. With the bishop. Fine. Good move. Simple chess. I like it a lot. So, that's not going to save his soul. Oh, look at that, buddy. Look at that. That's a nice mate. Let's just put some arrows on the board. Whack. Whack. That was very nice. Very nice indeed. So that's Wheat Belly. I think the games are getting better. And I just want to really stress something for people to notice if you're around this level. One of the things I said was they're not going to hang pieces at this level, but they are going to hang tempi. A lot of players, in addition, at this level, still haven't figured out how to think. They're still playing impulsive moves. So if we go back to the time graph, we see this guy made a bunch of chump moves in the opening, like queen b6, like queen b4. Excuse me, I didn't want to do that. Like queen b, excuse me, let's go here, this one. Like queen b6, like queen b4. Taking all kinds of stuff, not developing as coconuts, okay? So that's the kind of way we're going to get them, all right? So, great when the dojo wins that kind of battle. All right, great. Next up, we got Kenny Campbell. Kenny has graduated numerous times here. Look at that graph, dude. Look at that graph. He's not marking stuff on his heat map, but he is certainly moving up. Does he have games for me? Nothing. So Kenny Campbell, buddy, tell us how you're doing it. Put some stuff on this scoreboard. You know, put some games up. Let's see it. All right, next up we got Tristan. What does Tristan got to say? Tristan joined very recently, just did a smidge of work. 13-12. Clubs, games. We got one at least. Let's see what's going on with this one. Yeah. So this one we can see not annotated. And we definitely want, we don't want to look at a game without the annotations. You can see though, in this fine time graph, that his opponent was not a thinker. They definitely weren't a thinker there. Okay, good. Let's continue. We got AI Jason. Jason has done a lot of work. You see the work by the number here. This is the amount of dojo points that they did in order to graduate. AI Jason says, my first graduation since joining the dojo in May. My main objective was to improve to the point that I could adequately challenge the top players at the OTB Blitz meetups I play at during the week. I've seen a marked improvement. Players I used to trade wins with, I now handily beat, and other players I'd rarely lose to, I now go toe-to-toe. I still have more to do before I can beat the best players, but I'm on my way. I credit my success to tactics, 50-plus hours of OTB Blitz, and playing longer time controls followed by annotation. Now, actually, well, he mentioned me, but I want to just say something else that I thought maybe he was going to be quoting. Even if you want to get good at Blitz, playing longer games is the way. You can play Blitz too, obviously, but if you don't learn how to think about certain positions by thinking longer, right? You're not going to get good at Blitz. You need to do it longer, and then you can do the kind of thinking faster. I remember Jesse saying the best thing you can spend money on to improve at chess is a nice wooden cent. To that end, I bought a tournament-size e-board Chestnut Pro with premium pieces with absolutely gorgeous knights that I play all my classical games on. I even started taking it to OTB meetups so I can analyze the Blitz games when I get home. Interesting, okay. My number one area for improvement is to slow down in classical games. Jesse will cringe when he sees my time performance graph. Oh, and I already cringed at him one time before. I'm playing the Dojo Open tournament again, and this time after I decide my move, I write down my opponent's time on a piece of paper, then do a blender check before physically moving the piece on my e-board. Beyond that, I still need to slow down in the middle game and to make sure I'm coming up with the best plans and moves. Shout out to the fellow dojoers who regularly help analyze games, including Blind Bandit, The Calculating Fiddler, I Suffer from Senior Moments, and more. Oh, that was cool. Okay. Tony Bratella says, I will join the Dojo Patreon right now if Jesse agrees to keep that water jug away from his mic forever. You mean this one? Is that kill you? Is that a destroyer? I gotta have some kind of water while I'm doing this epic show, my friend. All right, this is AI Jason. I gotta drink it over here. Look at that. AI Jason is crushing, as you can see. 1309. This beautiful heat map that he has started at and is just killing. So, maybe it'd be cool for him to listen OTB rating as well. SoCal Dojo, Chestnut eBoard Club. Look at that, 85 members. Looks good. And now we got some games. Ba-boom. And now, he's playing the Iceman. I recognize the Iceman. Dojo Classical. All right. Let's see if we got some times. We do. And the good news is that we did far better than the Iceman in using our time. All right, so here we go. Game review. Okay. Okay. Little weird, but okay. Fine. Little weird, but okay. A little weird. So what do I want you to do? I want you to play a move like b6 to get your people out. Getting a little frisky, and now white blows it pretty big time with queen d4. Now, to white's credit, I have to say it. It's white, the Iceman, who has the better time graph. And this is already, he warned me. He was like, my time graph is going to be no bueno. Okay, so what does white need to do? Well, he needs to not hang the business on h2. Now, I yelled at black a little bit for knight e5, but we do have to say that b4 introduces some kind of tricky stuff, and white's going to have to need to be clever. Now, bishop d6 is controversial because you are blocking your business, and ultimately this piece could become a target. He does mention what I think is the right move, just getting out of the way. Those are the moves that are the hardest to find, the backwards moves. He guards the pawn, and he gets out of the way of all of the business. It's not just this one, it's this one and this one. So knight d2 would have been a great way to deal with this. That's a blunder. And now we say pap, pap, and we're obviously winning now. And now a full blunder here with queen c5. The Iceman has a lower rating and, is blundering stuff. Definitely queen d3. Thank you very much. Fine. Fine. Thank you. I like d6 better, but you're doing fine. It's hard not to be fine when you're winning all these coconuts here. Uh-oh. That's a little fancy, but I guess we're going to say it's okay. Check to the miserable king. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So that's Hex, also known as AI Jason, moving a little bit too fast. But his opponent was hanging stuff. A little lower rated, and we said thank you very much. Okay. Genius. Let's continue. We got not Slideshow Bob, but Sideshow Bob. And he is up to 1,400. Let's see what we got. He is playing a lot of games, not logging a lot of work otherwise. All right. So, 1375 looks good. Clubs. Nah, he's an old guy like me. UK Dojo. Beautiful. This is Sideshow Bob. Nikos Corfu. And this was ages ago. So this is done in May, so we're going to skip that one. But congratulations, Sideshow. We want some more recent games, and we want you to work. I mean, you're clearly, putting some stuff on this calendar here. I want a little bit more. Congratulations on the graduation. Next up, let me just see how much. Oh, you know what? We might even finish today. Next up, we got Bastos. And Bastos says, I took a bit of a break from the dojo because I ran out of tactical tasks suited to my level and eventually accepted that slow online games weren't for me. However, I'm picking it back up this year because I plan to play a lot more slow OTB, and also because my friend Thibaut joined the program, which is a nice motivational boost. Now, there's a famous Thibaut that was on a Dojo Talks ages ago. Maybe that's the same guy. I'm still a huge fan of the work you put into Dojo and the quality of the selected content. Keep it up. Thank you, Bastos. All right, so let's go take a look at Bastos. So, small steps first, then 1,700 for 2025 would be a huge one. That's right, small steps first. So, joined, it says, in 23, and then you can see took a big break over here. He was out riding his bicycle. It'd be nice to ride your bicycle out in the French countryside, so I understand. One of the things actually we see about the dojo is our numbers consistently go down in the summer. And then in the fall time, we get a lot of more people coming back to the dojo. Maybe that's what's going on with Bastos here. Also has a FIDE rating. Maybe eventually could use that as their default rating. We are actually also going to redo the FIDE ratings. They did the big shift a while back, and I think it's time for us to redo it and the rating translator. Okay, so clubs. European, French, lovely. And now we got games. And I want to go here and see, people are not putting their games into their My Games. So I'm seeing this one here as being more recent, the most recent. So it's a 9-round weekend tournament. Beautiful. Do we have times for this bad boy? We don't. As I always say, you can put the times in. Now let's go game review. All right, so here we go. Good. Poor. Knight f3. Poor. Now here's an example where you're just being dogmatic. Of course, you just take that pawn. All right, that looks poor to me. Other people suggested bishop c4, maybe, but that can't be wrong. C takes d4. All right, good move. Other people suggested bishop d2. I'm sure white's better, but knight c3's got to be the right call. That doesn't look right. Now, d5 is definitely a thought. Okay, so right, critical moment. I like what he's saying with the critical moment. We are up a tempo in a critical position. Now, it might seem like black's up a tempo because they got 3 out, but they owe us 1 because this pawn or this pawn need to move for this bishop. All right, I think this is fine. And now this doesn't look right. Knight e4. Okay, so this would also be, oh, now maybe, by the way, maybe what we're seeing is that they were putting the times in the notes instead of putting it in the times on the side. See how it says like 125 and 118? I think that's what he's saying. Okay, so he took the knight and he says double question mark. My gut is honestly that he's still doing quite well in that position. And queen c2 is definitely stronger, but that's not an easy move to find. Snip, snap, snook, snark, and now queen a1. And you write equals. I had a big evaluation problem here. Sure, I have 2 minor pieces for the rook, but there are also quite a few pawns, and the king's safety, my king's safety isn't great. That's why I didn't take on c7. I think you mean d7 immediately. Overall, I feel like I'm in a fairly equal position. And he talks about cd7. I think your move is fine. And you criticize d6, which you do have a good follow-up for. You think you should tell us what you feel black should have done. For me, the most challenging move would actually be castles, I believe. Saying that if you take here, I'm going to rook e8 you. Yeah. Still very interesting position. A lot to say here. Okay. I like white, but I understand it's not easy. Black definitely made it easier for you and probably missed that you have this nice move, which is also a developing move. King f8, and you just brought it back. Honestly, I think you should just castle. He can't be giving you that nice bishop. Okay. In general, we don't want to be trading our rook when our opponent has two rooks. Why? Because those two rooks are reduplicating themselves. Somebody in the notes talks about rook d1. I like that. A very simple move that can't be wrong is also just bishop b4. Just put him on there. Put him on that diagonal. Make him think about it a little bit. All right. f6. Okay. Good move. And right, he's putting his times in the notes. But he also doesn't tell us. Did he maybe tell us what the time control was up there? No, he didn't tell us what the time control. I'll look over here. 90 plus 30. Okay, good. So if we go back and we go rook c1, just judging from that, he's moving a little too fast because some big decisions are happening here. Good. Queen d7. I don't understand queen d7. a4. Interesting. And I assume that's his intention, bishop b5. Now, his friend writes rook c8, and I agree. That's his bro Tebow. His friend Tebow is absolutely right. And what you can see there is all of a sudden the rook that wasn't doing cool is all of a sudden kind of cool. So this is a moment, too, where we could say, hey, this is where we need to figure out how to get at pressure Black's position. It's not necessarily easy. Queen e3 looks like an interesting option. Talking to this coconut, developing. Okay, so a4, passive, good move. 95, fancy, and he calls it a critical moment. Yeah, now one of the things we should say, we could have said it a long time ago too, is that your knight on f3 isn't working. Now, so thinking about something like that is definitely a reasonable thing to do. Personally, it's not intuitively obvious to me that this works immediately. And you found king e6, which makes a lot of sense. That's fancy and nice. Notice that what Black did to themselves is they trapped their rook. That's the main feature of the position I see. So it's like the honesty of like queen a1. It's a very interesting position. And he's like, dude, I think I'm not actually on top. I think he is, but it's definitely an interesting position to try to sense of what's going on in the game. All right, genius. Let's continue. We got the grad show. We actually did Beloved Bookkeeper last week. She came on the stream and she was like, dude, I'm not going to be around next week. Can you do me this week? So we did. And that leaves some very famous dodoers in front of us. The first being AC Secret, who has graduated a number of times and is up here to 1600. AC Secret says, studying master games is very interesting. However, I find it hard to understand why a move was made, like the GM hangs a pawn and it's checked when captured, and yet the opponent did not capture. The daily training plan really works. I can see positions clearly, and there are times that I can see 7 moves ahead. Also starting to see positional weakness on the board aside from tactical maneuvers that can gain material or mate. Sorry, Cry. I have no discipline to think long enough. I will train to follow. Game of the cohort is against Ecrosite, where I play black in the Sicilian. Okay, another madness. Suggestion. Maybe Dojo can have its own rating system that will be based on submitted games during the round robin, Open Classical, and Dojo Liga. We have talked about that. We have definitely talked about that. And honestly, we got 54 dev projects outstanding, and we can add that one to the list, but it ain't getting done. Because we need, and honestly, I've given so many call outs. I'm like, you guys, you're a developer. We need help. We need help with these 54 dev projects. And a lot of times we'll get people who sound really interested, and then they kind of come in and then don't do anything. Mr. Gustafsson being an exception to that rule. Okay, so here we go. 1560. AC Secret is flying up. This is Alvin Cruz. Clubs. He's in the Philippines, right? In the Jeans Club, too. I remember that about him. All right. So, games. My games. Maybe my internet connection is a little funky today. And he wants me to look at Ecrosita. We will do so. First, we got some times. Yes, we do. He says he's working on his time management. So, as you can see, he is playing somebody that also has some time management problems. Yeah. Okay. And he says he misses 1594. We're going to look particularly at how long he spent on that move 15. All right, here we go. Game review. Good. Queen d4. Not good. Definitely we want to play ED followed by Queen d5 CD. Good move by black. Good move. Good move. Now maybe black is a little bit better. Okay. Weird. And you say G6 could be better? Yeah, or E6, one of those moves, and black is doing fine. So totally strange move. Good. I think. I don't like this. All right, so basically white is going to help black a little bit by taking on C6 with the aim of putting the bishop on E5. What would be simple and strong here? Either rook E1 or knight D2. All right, bishop E5, H6. Can I say it? Players at this level have a hard time developing their coconuts. And when they don't, that's when we want to look to punish them. I think right away, I don't know why knight D4 doesn't win a pawn. I don't see how black defends. Okay, knight A3. A little funny. Knight E3. Okay. Now notice white was really obsessed with that square on E5. He loves the E5 square. Now, this is a good example where the king definitely should be coming back toward the center of the board. He undevelops his king with A8. Now, actually, we are going to look at 15 knight D4. Oh, I think I said knight D4. I even said it. I said it the move before, but it's a similar thing because the pawns can't be protected. He did think for 3 minutes there, so it wasn't like a complete disaster. What you are guilty of here is playing kind of dogmatic. Your opponent's definitely playing dogmatic. G4, no one knows. Good move. C4, good move. Okay. G3. This is very controversial because with G3, you are giving him the light squares, in particular the F3 square. So I think a cool thing you should think about is B4 with two intentions. I might play C5, but I also might do a mating net with B5. Once I get the pawn to B5, I'll be threatening here and then mate on B8. All right, G3 scares me a lot. Now you might get mated. Okay. Now play B5. Thinking of, he mentions B5. Good. That doesn't look right. Good. That doesn't look right. Good. He's just doing random stuff to you at this point. And now we should be playing B5. Good. King B3, baby. This is what they get. Now, let me just stress. When I say that people at this level don't develop their coconuts, it's not just in the opening. What did we see? Black was like losing their mind. By the way, we're going to go back to this this view. They stop thinking. A lot of times they get to the end game and then just go back. I'm having real grief with the disconnection today. And I was giving such a nice speech too. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that once you pass 1,000, your path to advancement, to rating gains, is recognizing that your opponents are just going to be giving away tempi, and you need to exploit those loss of tempi. All right, beautiful. That's AC secret. Now we got Lewis. Ba-boom. So Lewis joined last year, but hasn't really been marking much. He's got a USCF rating. He's got some games. Nothing. So Lewis, we want to see some of your work, bro. All right. Next up, we got Steen. Oh, I blew it. Look at that. I really blew it. It's fixable though, crap. It's fixable. All right. So next up, we got Steen, and then we got three more after Steen. Steen doesn't say much about himself. He has marked some games. And then we got loads here. He's playing against a bot, Manuel. I have never gone over a game against a bot. Also, though, these games are not very recent. So we're going to not look at those games. But Steen, we want some games more recent against a human, and tell us what you're doing, because you're clearly making progress, Steen. Right? Clearly doing pretty well. Nice with you're using the FIDE. Simple thing we'll say, as we go up in the ladder, people are using OTB ratings more and more. Now, Rowdy Rita, my friends, here it comes. Rowdy Rita says, loving the program so far. I find myself skipping fewer study days since joining, as the activity viewer is very motivating. Surprise hit of the program for me was the memorized game task, which I nearly skipped. It was actually a lot of fun, and afterwards I saw a breakthrough in my visualization skills. Won my last under 2,000 tournament outright. Now I have a few games I can play over blindfold during periods of dead time, and I'm excited to move on. Beautiful. All right. So Skebex is in the chat. I will do if I can. I don't know if I'm getting there today. Mid 40s UK, 1735 ECF, and got a goal of 1900 in 2025. Now, I want to say that's a very good goal. I think at this point it's maybe hard, but you have made progress, and it was a goal that was modest enough to be realizable, and also, still very difficult. So, as you can see, Rita is really cranking it with the heat map. Beautiful. And actually, excuse me. Excuse me, I want to do a take back. I get a Shadoop. I was looking at the normalized rating, which is the dojo rating system. We have to have one rating system to rule them all, to translate through the different rating systems. But in fact, look at Rowdy Rita, dude. 1893, her goal was 1900 in 2025, and she's got every chance of hitting that now. So that's super cool. Super cool. Okay, let's see. Clubs. The Rowdy Rita Club. The Rowdy Rita Club. And now, let's look at this bad boy. This is Clive Wally. Do we got times? We do. Check it out. Looks like Clive Wally bit the dust on the time. And Rowdy Rita has got a very nice time management. Something also just to see is, as we go up the time ladder, these games get longer, right? It's just something to observe. If you're lower rated, be like, oh, I get what it is to be a higher rated player now. Very nice time usage. In general, I want to say, too, that once you get to around 1900, when I start 1900 dojo, which is the same as about 1900 FIDE, you are going to see players with, if they have a problem with time management, it's going to go the other direction. They're going to be underneath that green line, okay? And for them, our time management rating is all about, hey, maybe you need to move faster, buddy. Right? But in general, the lower rated players do not have that problem. So it's a different kind of problem once we get higher. That's all I'm saying. Here's Rowdy Rita. Good. Okay. Knight c6. I think this is all kind of a known thing, actually. There's a pawn snip, and now this interesting situation where we have sacked a pawn, but we have some nice development. So, amazing. White plays bishop d3. And now Rowdy Rita thinks for 3 minutes and plays queen a5 check. It's an evil move, my friends. Look at this. Bam! We can definitely suspect that White did not see that coming. Now, White does think for a bit here, and correctly does not fall into the trap, which would be, say, bishop d2, bishop f2, and then the coconuts are gone. Hex says, I thought today's graduations were only under 1,000. Was mine already done? Yeah, we did do yours. Basically, AI Jason, the Thursday show is like an overflow show. So if I don't finish in one day, I'll do another show the next day. And the point is sometimes my eyes just start losing it. So I give myself the overflow opportunity, you know. And I was kind of amazed I did it today because there was like 30 some graduates. I think I got a little lucky. Some people didn't have a game, you know. So king e2, probably the best move. King f1 is the other option. And now bishop g4, and she gives herself a turtle, meaning that she thinks that was too long. Yeah. Okay. I, in principle, like the move, though. Bishop e3, maybe a good move. Let's castle. Holy moly. Holy moly. Bishop c5. And now she throws in bishop f3, but I wonder if we have to. She really wants to get rid of that bishop. So, and she says that on queen d3, queen c5, queen e4 will likely draw quickly. I don't know about that. Because in addition to ye old queen e5, you can think about king f8. And it's a hell of a drug there. I would rather be black. Rook e8 is going to be a powerful thing. Okay, so here we go. White gets frisky with the king. Castles. 4 minutes 30. All right. So I think it's genius. And I have a feeling white missed that. Rook HG1. And now G6. Rowdy Rita's. She doesn't play, dude. She's comfortable with just sitting, letting that pin sit. Now, one thing where it's very impressive is if we had played the natural move DC5, I think we're toast. And that would be a real sad thing if that had happened. So G6, exclam. Snip. And now this is too dangerous for white. So, bam, bam, bam. Now, if we were going to do it this way, we want to say something obvious. It would have been better to have this rook over here, right? And you write that, Rowdy Rita. In hindsight, this would have been better. Okay. So good annotations. All right. Boom, boom, boom. And now again, you tank forever. I love these annotations. It's really good. And here you're trying to calculate through to mate. A good rule of thumb in this position, I think, is that if we have a heavy ending, this is what I call a heavy ending, so queens and rooks, then the person with the better king should be winning, okay, or better. And you definitely have the better king, and you're up a pawn. So, check, good. Queen A1, good. A little passive. I'm not sure I understand rook C3. Oh, that's nice, though. Shouldn't have allowed that. Good move. Probably a good move. This, by the way, Rowdy Rita, I realize you're a little bit of time pressure here. Clive Wally's an even deeper doo-doo. But this is where we want you to spend some time with the annotations. And now, in general, we do not want to go into a rook endgame. But it's probably fair that we're winning that one because our opponent's rook is so passive if they take. So you said check to the miserable king. And now rook C5. Okay. So you talk about queen D6. Let's just look at this rook C5 for a second. Now you're saying queen B8 is the big dog. H3 definitely is a passive looking move. He's in deep time trouble. But queen B8, we need to ask ourselves why this is such a big thing. Is it here? I'm just saying I don't quite understand it. I still think you're doing great. H3, and now you play rook H5, and queen D6 looks very strong. Yep. And now queen E5 is really bad because, again, it's a thing you should understand on a principled level that we don't want to trade the queens when we have the better king. And now this should be a draw, but we still don't want to give it to him. Now, it's true that rook C1, well, I still want to say we want to play on. Okay, so rook C1, rook A2, we play on. He's going to play rook C4, and yes, technically it's a draw, but white still has some things to deal with. This was a very good game, Rowdy Rita. Good, especially from an annotation standpoint. I think one of the key takeaways, and this is a kind of higher level thing that we can start seeing in the higher cohorts is when we have the heavy ending, we don't want to trade the queens, right? And so one of the reasons to not think too long is you can say to yourself here, oh, I just need to keep the rooks and the queens on, and then I'll be crushing, right? Yeah. Okay. Beautiful stuff. I think we have 2 more to go. Amable's here. Thank you for being here as well. Mark this as reviewed with Rowdy Rita. Next we have a famous dojoer, Martin. And Martin has done I think he wrote and said, well, let's read what he says. I know that I haven't followed the program diligently, but after I closed down my chess creator business, my motivation has been pretty low. However, the training program has motivated me to switch from 3.0 to Rapid. I plan to slowly build up more good habits, which hopefully soon will include some longer online games. So I have some games to annotate. Beautiful. Martin did a lot of cool stuff in the chess world. I assume life took over and he went and got a real job or something like that. But he has I'm sure you could still get them, these books which really are there to solve blindfold problems. So that's kind of a cool thing. You have to set the board up in your mind to solve the problem. All right, let's take a look at Martin. He was making good progress too before he quit or took a break. So he's got this retired chess blogger, yeah, co-founder of Chess Punks. One of the things I was going to say, Dad with 4 kids, holy moly. 4 kids, Martin, 4. 4. I think I knew that about you, but I had forgotten. So, Rowdy Rita, yeah, you did great, though. That was a good annotation. One of the things this brings up for me is hashtag ChessPunks used to be a massive thing on Twitter. And I'm sure it still kind of exists, but Twitter itself, it's not dead, but the chess part of Twitter, in my experience of it so far, has died. It used to be a very vibrant thing. I'd go on there all the time, and somebody was saying something interesting about the chess world. And with Musk taking it over and stuff, it just, I don't know. It kind of lost a judge. I feel like there's some chess stuff on Reddit now, but it's not the same. Twitter was a place where everybody would kind of say something if they wanted to say something. In any case, that's toast. Martin was big there back before he retired as a chess creator. Super cool that he's done this with the ChessCom. Now, Martin, the first thing I'm going to tell you about this is a key reason to think about switching to OTB is the amount of cheaters. Here you are actually also at 1873, so that's very impressive. The amount of cheaters you're going to face on ChessCom at your level, once it gets over 2,000, it's stunning. It's just stunning. So I very much think that for that and other reasons, it's a good time to switch to your FIDE rating. Okay, let's look at his clubs. He might have some fun clubs. The Danish Dojo, great. Could have the Say Chess Club. Do we got some my games? We got some games. This was fairly recently against a no-name. Rated classical game. It's a strong German player. Okay. Here we got our times. And the first thing we'll say is both players around move 30, stop thinking. That we'll see. We'll maybe come back to why that was. All right, let's get into a game review. So here we go. Fine so far. Yep. Fine. Fine. Castles. And now knight f4. This is something I actually have some experience with. I'm a French player myself. And this line has been around since pre-computer times. And something that's fascinating about it is the computer found a move here, which the old-time GMs, they weren't even thinking about. And that's this move that Martin shows us here with Queen A5. It's very counterintuitive. And the point is, if you play, let's say, Bishop D3, I'm going to take this bad boy. And if you trade this way, I'm just going to be content with my life. And if you play B4, I've got ye old Zwischenzug with knight takes F3. So Queen A5, I just want to stress something about that, is it's a kind of computery move that you would have to know about to actually do. Okay, so CD4. Okay, I actually think you'll find some old-time GMs with this in the database. F6. You talk a little bit about F5. Another plan is also A5, A4 with knight A5. F6. This does scare me a little bit. Queen C2, right. So if we're going to play F5 here, we probably wanted to play it earlier. All right, H4, typical. Okay, Rook C8, good. I would say White is playing a very impressive game so far. Knight A5. Maybe. Okay, Rook C1, I'm not sure about. White has the basic, well, strategically, what we can say is that White's position is better in terms of space, in terms of king safety. But Black has one game in town, and that's to mess with White, try to gain some kind of counterplay with the knight on C4. Rook C1 doesn't look right to me, because when we put that knight on C4, we're going to need to extricate it, and we're going to want probably to control the square A3. Definitely the kind of position that I think a stronger player than NN would think a long time here, because this is a big calculation moment. All right, knight A4. Now, though, a very nice move. Whack. Oh, that's a bummer. Knight C4. I would do this too. I don't know what else you want to do. Queen B3. And now Queen A7 maybe. That may be a kind of computer thing, a thing a computer might do. But moving the queen back is definitely more sensible in my eyes. Now, you got B5 on your mind, but here you played B6. Maybe H5, a little frisky. I'm not sure I understand H5, honestly. Interesting. He's a very ambitious man here. Good moves, or at least well-intentioned. I told you that Rook was going to have to go back. Queen D8, now we're just messing around. You should consider B5. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work out, honestly. But our position is passive, and we need to do something. Queen C2, I'm not sure I understand it. Rook H3, maybe at some point. There you do this thing. We are positionally in bad shape. And now he's really getting angry with you. White played this very well. Looks right to me, yeah. Geez, this guy's mean. This guy's a mean player. Rook G2, I'm not sure I get it. No, I don't get Rook G2. Okay, he wants to sack or something. I don't know. Good. Mean. This guy is amazing. So, Bishop C4, excellent move, and now we're done. Okay, so Say Chess, that was a good game. Good annotation, and definitely an example of a couple things. One, you're playing a higher rated player that definitely at least had an intuitive sense of how to play a lot of the positions that came up. It was also the case that if you had known about this queen a5 move, it would have given you a competitive advantage. But that's clearly a case where you would have had to have known it. That's not something you're going to find at the board, this queen a5 thing. Again, I don't think, like I said, the old-time GM saw this position, way back in the day, and they never thought about queen a5. Not in a million years. So that would be something you would have to know by opening training. But otherwise, you're playing somebody who found the knight e6 move, as an example. And even then, he still had to do some work, right? So, great game. Say, Chess, I hope you come back to chess, bud. We missed you. And, I don't know what you're doing now. Maybe you'll tell us in your profile what you're doing now, Maybe you'll tell us what's going on in the life of Martin. All right, we got one more to go, and that's Powhatan Paul. He doesn't tell us much. Let's see what's going on with Powhatan. Now, he's been here for a while, but only logged some stuff recently. 1970, Ostdeutschland. 1970, okay, good. And we got all this other stuff going on. Let's see if we in the German club. There we go, Augard's Army. My games. We don't have times. Do we know where this is from? This is a German OTB game. Again, you can bring in the times if you can do a little bit of effort, and it is worth it to do said effort. All right, let's get into this. This is Powhatan Paul playing white. Fine. Little weird, bud. This is a little weird. Castles. Fine. D4. Fine. D6. So now white has a classic advantage where he can either take on C5 and have the better pawn structure, or do as in the game and play D5. Okay? Fischer would like to play DE, and Karpov would play D5. That's something I know because there's a similar Ruy Lopez position. Personally, I'm very much in favor in this position of taking on either E5 or C5 because I don't want to block the bishop like we're doing here. Check to the miserable king. Okay. Okay. I would have preferred A4. And now he plays C4. He should very much think about G6 now. So C4 looks like a mistake. G6 would dominate our knight on G3. Not sure I understand B4. Okay. So, yeah, here's the big question. Ugh. You guys, why? Why is my situation always disconnecting for half a second? No lo entiendo. Man, what a bummer. So bishop e3, good move. Queen c1, at least direct. And now dude plays knight g4. Well, basically, he's going to lose a pawn at this point. All right, boom, boom, boom. This looks very strong for white. Looks good. Fine. Fine. I think we have to evaluate knight b2. I like it, at least in principle. I like what's going on here for white. That knight is a mess, and we're going to advance our pawns. That's a little weird to me, but I think I understand. Good move. Is it a good move? Yeah. If queen e1, we have knight e1. Boom, boom, knight d2. In this position, my opponent ran out of time. Okay. I have given away most, if not all, of my advantage at this point, as the active pieces definitely compensate for the pawn. Now, I just want to say, no, I don't think so. I don't know about the move knight d2, but I definitely feel, I get it. You want to play knight d2 to prevent rook b3. The thing I don't like about it is you're encouraging bishop g5. You know what? You might be right. Things might have gone bad. I would say the move queen f1. This is why, by the way, if we have the times in the games, it helps you and me look at what was going on. A lot of these games feel like maybe you were also in time pressure, right? In principle, I like this. I like the way it looks, you know? I like a4. Now, you play queen f1, and it would be great if we had something better than that. Maybe we don't, but it would be great if we did. Yeah, okay, I think you might be onto something by saying, hey, the milk has gone bad a little bit for us over here. Okay, my friends, that has been a wonderful Graduates. I'm going to be back next Wednesday, and we'll probably raid somebody here. Houseline, I don't know if he's actually doing anything because it says only 6 people are watching him, but I'm going to try to raid him anyway. Houseline helps out with the dojo. We're going to raid him. Boom. This has been the Chess Dojo training program. This lovely site, let's give a full view here, is something you can check out for yourself. And actually, I did some training this morning that I need to log before I raid him. How much did we do? Oh, I did a little bit, dude. I did 210. So I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to say update progress. I'm going to say 2 hours, 10 minutes, update. All right, my friends, we're going to raid this Houseline, a.k.a. Matt. Boom.